So as we land on episode number 8, The Disturbing Darkness for Arifureta, there is just so much to unpack during this episode. And as the season kind of comes to a close, like I am just so effing excited to kind of like get to the next step because this episode we finally met I'm gonna call her an angel, but I think her name is Aniwet, something like that. Noint is her name, I think. Anoint. But we finally got to meet her, and she was the angel that was shown to us on episode 1, where Hajime was getting his butt kicked in, but he was, keeping up and doing work and whatnot. So we're finally up to the point now to where episode 1 kind of started, and then now we're on episode 8, and we know we're going to get 9, 10, 11, 12, right? And that means we're going to be able to get the fight, complete the fight, and see what ends up coming next, kind of like after the fact of it. But like this episode was definitely like really, really, really good. And a couple of things that I wanted to really call out is I love that 𝐒𝐮𝐩𝐸 got some screen time. I think, obviously you guys know, if you guys don't know, I'm a Kaori, my number one girl. I think she's best girl. But I also really like 𝐒𝐮𝐸𝐸 as well. Obviously along with everybody else. I think, Tio is up there for me too. But regardless, this is a competition for that. But I like how 𝐒𝐮𝐸𝐸 got a little bit of screen time this episode. And then obviously Aiko, which is the teacher, which, I'm always reminded of how tiny Aiko-san, Aiko it really is. She's so tiny compared to Nagumo. Like, Nagumo can't be more than like, 5'9" or something. And she's like half of his size. Maybe because he seemed like he was, relatively closer to Kaori's size before he transformed. So he was probably, around like a 5'5"-ish, area. He probably grew about another 5 or so inches. Maybe he's close to 6 feet now. But she's like half of his size. Like she's so tiny. She must be like 4'11". Like she is super tiny. And I'm always reminded of that. But again, like I said, I'm really glad that 𝐒𝐮𝐸𝐸 got a little bit of screen time. I'm glad that Liliana was able to make her way out of the kingdom. I like how Kaori was able to recognize that, hey, that barrier and the bandits attacking, that barrier seems really familiar to her. And I'm glad that she didn't really have to convince Nagumo to really, Hajime to really like go into action. Like she was just like, yeah, let's get it. Bad guys, was it teacher? What did he say? What he says? So that's cheesy. He's like, in driving school, they teach you, bad guys deserve to get bad things or something like that. And I was like, oh my god, dude. Like, I loved it so much. But he goes and he kills all the bandits and stuff, and they save the princess. And then Liliana informs them of, what happened with Aiko, what's happening in the kingdom, all the happenings that are happening around there. And, they get to basically spring into action. The main thing that stuck with him, in his ear was what happened to Aiko. And I love the way that the teacher has like slowly been falling in love with Hajime, and so much so that she kind of like is thinking about him like outside, which is funny because obviously she's his teacher and stuff, and normally that'd be like a forbidden love kind of thing, but they're in an alternate world. They're in some fantasy world to where things are more normal and accepted. So at this point, like she's allowed to totally fall in love with him, especially after he's kind of saved her bacon a couple times. He was probably her. I don't want to say her first kiss because she's older. She's probably in her early 20s, somewhere right there. So it might not have been her first kiss, but definitely was a memorable kiss to her. Probably one of like a handful of kisses in her whole life or something. So she definitely is thinking a lot about him. And on the alternate end, like I always wonder if Hajime has some feelings for her. Like I know he cares for her. I know he looks out for her. I know he has like feelings, but I don't know if they're like romantic feelings for her. But I could definitely see that totally clicking and totally happening, as the anime kind of like progresses, as, maybe Aiko is someone that, confesses to him as well and wants to be with him, regardless of his other entourage, including one of her students, Kaori, Tio, Yue, and all of them. So Yue might have to watch out for someone else being the teacher, which she kind of already saw before when they dealt with the demons and the attack of the other student before. And Yue also called him out too of how he handled the killing off one of her students and how he was very careful about handling that. So she's kind of called him out for these actions before. So I wouldn't be surprised if Aiko would join the team in a sense, join the harem team for Team Hajime over there. So really loving that. And then obviously he finally is able to save her. So he goes to the kingdom, or he goes to the Peak Valley, whatever the hell it was called. He goes to the Divine Peak or whatever, and he saves her, which works out for him because it happens to be one of the dungeons that he needs to visit to go and obtain the ancient magic anyways. And then he finally gets introduced to 𝐼𝐼 or Nuit or 𝐼𝐼 or whatever the hell her name was. And he gets to see her too. And I don't know if she killed off Captain Mel or whatever his name is, Meld. I don't know if she killed off Captain Meld, which I'm assuming like homeboy R.I.P. I'm assuming he gone. But she definitely did something. And then the whole situation with the student that tried to kill him and the other student, like, I don't know if I'm really digging that specific plot line that a lot of what's happening in the kingdom is all because this one student that they're going to reveal to us later, which I'm like, there's only so many students. Like, maybe there's one of them that didn't get screen time, and she totally pulled a 180, reverse Uno card on us. But obviously there's a student who has a close relationship to this 𝐼𝐼 person, maybe whoever her god is. And they're trying to corrupt the kingdom and do whatever else. But I don't know if I like that there's some student pulling the strings, because like Hajime just gonna go in and go, bah, easy peasy. I guess that makes it easier for plot. But I don't know if I'm really digging that specific plot point. But I do like the fact that now next episode is definitely gonna be Hajime versus this angel 𝐼𝐼 person, and basically the battle got brought. He found the battle and it got brought to him all at the same time. So he doesn't necessarily got to go search for it. So it's gonna be very interesting to see on how this all ends up playing out. But I'm very, very, very excited as we move forward into Arifureta. I'm also very sad that we're moving towards the end of the season as well. Because I just want more Arifureta. Like, I know so many people keep hating on this anime, but it's just so damn good, So I don't care what anybody says. If you guys get any haters too, at the end of the day, haters gonna hate. But this anime is just so good. I enjoy it so much. I love the characters, and I'm totally invested in what's actually happening outside of the fan service stuff, which this episode had none. Which is it was just all really good episode, and I really love when that happens too. Because it's like, hey. This can do it too. So let me know what you guys think about Aiko and Hajime's relationship. Let me know what you think about this new angel being introduced. And let me know what you guys think about who could be the student manipulating things behind the scenes. Put that down in the comments down below. Let's chat. And as always, I appreciate you guys being here for another episode review of Arifureta, Season 2, Episode 8. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace out, my friends.